think we'll go ahead and get started. It's great to see everybody today. Welcome to Iowa Citian Newman Rotary. I'm Eric Weiler, your president this year. We like to start each meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Devin is going to put up an American flag slide. And if everyone could please unmute yourself and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United
States of America
and
to the republic
for which it
stands
one nation under God,
indivisible, with
liberty
and justice for all. And now we're going to go right back to Devin with some Zoom tips for us to help us out, to help us navigate the meeting. So Devin.
Yep, happy to. Just real fast, your view is one of your best friends in this thing. You can switch, it should, if you're on the computer, top right, but it should look like a little grid or a block with 3 little dots above it. You can switch between gallery view and see the smiling faces of all the rest of your fellow Rotarians, or you can look at the speaker and their slides as well. And then when our speaker Newman is sharing his slides today, you can slide, if you've got the newest version of Zoom, slide how much of the slides you're seeing versus how much of him, depending on how closely you want to look at what he's sharing. I will also point out that now I've lost my train of thought. It's terrible. So I'll skip right to chat. So go to chat, sign in if you would. You can also check out in the reactions tab. There's a whole bunch of emojis, sad faces, smiling faces, little ghost emojis, if that's really something that you want to share. And then most importantly, there's a raise hand option for if you have announcements or visiting guest or Rotarian, or if you have any questions at the end of the presentation. And I remembered what I was going to say. It was, if you haven't updated your Zoom client lately, go to the Zoom website and download the latest version and get that thing updated, because it's more secure and you have all of those fun emojis that you can use in meetings. Back to you, President Eric.
Great, thank you, Devin.
Yep.
So now all of us have an opportunity to practice the raise hand feature. So we love to recognize our visiting Rotarians and our guests. So if you're a visiting Rotarian or you brought a guest today, please click on reactions and click on raised hand and we'll call on you. And when we introduce our guest, if you could please unmute yourself and turn on your camera if you're comfortable. We love to see who you are and hear a quick hello from you. So I see Amanda, you've got your hand raised.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda Mcfadden, a member of the Rotary Club of Iowa City AM. Thanks for having me today.
Great. Thanks for joining us, Amanda. And Steve, you have your hand raised.
Yes, Bill Furlong is my guest today. Glad to have Bill here. We're working on his application.
Okay, wonderful to be here, Steve. Thank you.
Great. Welcome, Bill. And yeah, Steve, thanks for introducing him for us. And Linda, do you want to introduce Pam to us?
Yes, Eric has blown my cover. I mean, Eric. I would like to introduce Pam Funke. She is looking very seriously at becoming a member of our club. She is Assistant Director of Alumni Relations for the University of Iowa Law School. So, and she's my daughter. So Pam.
Great, thank you. I'm excited to finally get the chance to come.
Great. And Pam used to be my next door neighbor in Coralville. We were sad to see Pam and Mike move to North Liberty, but it's great to see you again. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good to see you, Eric.
Yep. And I see Amy Nicholson has her hand raised.
Hi, the program looked really interesting today, so I wanted to stop by and see what it was all about.
Great. And Amy, you're from the AM Club, correct?
I'm sorry, yes.
Yes. Perfect.
I'm here
Welcome.
with Amanda from the Iowa City AM Club.
Yes, feel free to join us anytime. Thanks for coming. And I'm going to call on, I know Arlie Clemens is with us. He has a guest today. So Arlie, if you could unmute yourself and introduce us to your guest today.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. My guest today is my neighbor and my friend, Tom Woodruff. Tom's a longtime native of this part of the state and is interested in construction and engineering.
Great. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. And Arlie, thanks for inviting him today.
Thank you.
Any other guests? Devin, did we miss any hands raised? We got everybody? Okay. Well, yeah, welcome to our visiting Rotarians and our guests. We meet every Thursday at 12 o'clock. Feel free to join us each week. Now announcements, same format. If you have a Rotary related announcement, if you want to click raise hand. Linda, right off the bat.
For the Youth Leadership Committee, some of you have committed to helping us out with donating some money. And if you are still thinking about that, could you let us know if you're still going to do it? And also, if you haven't donated, we're still looking for donations. So please let us know if you're interested. Thanks.
Great, thank you, Linda. And Linda, thanks for you and your committee, all your great work with the RILA and World Affairs program.
Thanks, Eric.
Yep. I have a couple announcements. When we're able to meet safely again and get back in person at the Highlander, we are searching to recruit a sergeant at arms, someone who could come to the meeting a little bit early and help us set up the name tags and the podium and so forth. And kind of as an incentive for doing this, we would purchase lunch every week for the sergeant at arms. And it doesn't even have to be one person. We'd love to have a committee, maybe 2, 3, 4 people who could rotate dates. But if that's something you might be interested in, the sergeant at arms role, feel free to let me know. And another opportunity, if you're interested in getting more involved with Rotary leadership, we are going to have at least 2 openings on the Rotary board starting July 1st of next year. But we're going to have our Rotary elections in October. So if this sounds like something you might want to do, our Rotary board, we meet once a month on the 4th Tuesday of each month. And if something you might be interested in, I'll put my email in the chat, and we're asking if you could just share a few sentences about yourself, your involvement with Rotary, and why you want to be on the Rotary board. And then we'll put your name into consideration, and all of our club members will vote in early October. Any other announcements at all? Well, seeing none, I think we'll roll right into the program. And Devin, if you'd like to introduce our speaker for us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to. So this was a suggestion by Arlie Clemens. So just a plug, if you have suggestions for programs, I'm happy to reach out, or if you have people that you know. But I reached out to our local DOT team, and Newman Abuissa said that he'd be more than happy to come speak to our club. And he is an engineer with District 6 for DOT. He graduated from South Dakota State University with a BS and MS degrees. He's been with the Iowa DOT for 32 years between Ames, Mason City, Iowa City, and now he's at the Cedar Rapids location as the Transportation Safety Management and Operations Engineer, or a TSMO engineer. And District 6 of the DOT covers 12 counties in East Central Iowa, and he's worked in bridge materials and design and construction over the years. He's an immigrant from Syria, became a citizen 28 years ago, and has 4 adult children. He's active with the Council of International Visitors to Iowa City Civic, and is one of the founders of St. Raphael Church in Iowa City that just celebrated its 20th anniversary, and he's lived in Iowa City for the last 26 years. So I'm betting that some of you have run into him at some point along the way. Newman, thanks so much for being here with us. We're excited to hear what you have to say.
Thank you very much for having me this afternoon. Everybody hear me okay? Good. Yeah, I've been working with the DOT for a long time. That's all my career, basically for 32 years. And I am involved with multiple, I guess, many projects within the Iowa DOT. I'm here today to talk about some of the projects in this immediate area, which affects most of us commuters, travelers, and driving around the town and outside town. The State Department covers state highways. That's basically the interstate system, the US system, and Iowa system. The other streets are city streets and county streets, which we have some oversight over, but we don't have immediate responsibility for those roads and projects. So I-80 and I-380 is the major topic of today. This interchange has been in the design, I guess, for a few more years before we started the construction, which about 2 years ago, we started the construction of reconstruction of 8380. It used to be a clover leaf interchange with 4 ramps and 4 loops. And those loops, and especially when they go under the highway, they have a weaving area which accommodates so many traffics, but the traffic has been increasing fast in the last 10 or 20 years. The system was built, I-80 was built in the early 1960s, and then I-380 was built in the 70s and 80s, I guess 218 as well. And the traffic is reaching now about 50,000 vehicles or above 50,000 vehicles on I-80 and above 50,000 vehicles on I-380. And this number of traffic cannot be accommodated with the old design. So we are redesigning it now with the flyovers. Basically, you don't have to slow down to 25 miles per hour to go through those loops and then merge into the highway. You can maintain 50 or 55 miles per hour on some of those ramps and fly over, like eastbound to northbound is already done. And you can travel that loop at about 50 miles per hour coming from Tiffin, basically going Cedar Rabbits. And that's the first one which is done, but all the movements will be accommodated by flyovers or ramps like what we have. We have to move the ramps outside a little bit to accommodate the flyovers. And that requires lots of bridges. So I'll maybe go through the slide. Is the slide shall I try to share from my window, or is there somebody else who's gonna run this slide for me?
Either, happy to do it either way. Which would you prefer?
Can you go ahead and do it just for the ease? That way I don't make mistakes.
Yep. Happy to.
Okay. So while he's putting the slides, this project is a 5-year project, basically. It started about 3 years ago, and we are in the middle of the project right now. This is kind of the last, this year, next year, and the year after are the last 3 years of the project. And I'm just going to give you an update on this project as you can see it here and on this slide here. Can you move on to the next one? As I already kind of mentioned, this is the old system with the 4 clover leaves. We are already closed some of those clover leaves. We will be closing the westbound to southbound next month. And that will send traffic further west to Tiffin and come back around. So before we started this project, actually, we worked with the city of Coralville, the city of North Liberty, the city of Tiffin, and the city of Iowa City and Johnson County to make sure that the traffic impacted by this interchange will be accommodated safely and reasonably within the surrounding systems. So we end up agreeing with the city of North Liberty and Coralville to build the Forever Green Road interchange north of I-80 on 380, about 2 miles north of I-80. And that also interchange carries traffic into North Liberty on Forever Green Road. Forever Green Road used to be a gravel road. We worked with the city of North Liberty and the city of Coralville. Part of it is in Coralville as well. And we accommodated 3-lane paved section, and that was opened about 2 years ago. And that was part of this preparation for this interchange project. There was many other preparations as well. We worked with the city of North Liberty and Coralville to synchronize their signals on that corridor to make sure that when traffic is diverted on the route, on the detour route, that we have better capacity. We installed basically what we call adaptive signals. And adaptive signals basically means smart signals. They sense the traffic coming from all directions, and they accommodate their timing to maximize the flow of traffic to the interchange. Next slide, please. This is just general location here of this interchange. As you can see, that we will have 6 lanes on I-380 between I-80 and 1 mile north of Forever Green Road to the end of the yellow line at the top of the graph. And then also I-80 will be 6 or 8 lanes in that area. It will accommodate an auxiliary lane between 965 and the interchange on the east side, and then it will be 6 lanes to the west to Tiffin, and 6 lanes for a short distance, about a mile south on 218 to the south. So this is also, we are accommodating a 12-foot shoulder for future expansion or future traffic management. We used to have 8 or 10-foot shoulders, but in this case here, we are putting 12-foot shoulders, and we are using full depth concrete to accommodate traffic for future traffic management. So this is one of the features of this highway, and that is also part of the system we are trying to reconstruct. We are also in the process, excuse me, of designing I-380 between Highway 80 and Highway 30, and that will have similar features, 3 lanes basically in each directions with a 12-foot shoulders, outside shoulders, which can accommodate traffic as well. Next slide. So we've had some crash history on 8380. We've had the congestion traffic start backing up. So this project is supposed to kind of get all the congestion and the benefits of the new design to maximize travel time or improve travel time, minimize crashes, and support the regional employment and development in this area. So we know that traffic is critical to any kind of business or activity, and we want to make sure that this will not be a hindrance to the area's growth. And the area has been growing consistently in the last, as long as I've lived here for almost more than 25 years. And we expect it to continue to grow, and we are seeing growth pre-pandemic about 3% on our system every year on the interstate. And that's been continuous for the last 20 years, other than the last year where we had a dip slightly, and now traffic is going back to normal before pandemic. Next. So the major accomplishment so far, I guess the I-80 eastbound to I-80 or 218 southbound is finished, and also I-80 eastbound to I-218 northbound is done as well. So those ramps, you can see them here at the bottom of the graph, going to the east and turning around, going to the north in the graph. Next. So you can see that some of the construction is impacting traffic. You've been going through it, and we've been basically maintaining 2 lanes of traffic on I-80 at all times. Other than some nights, we close some of the ramps or some of the major lines to build the bridges. Some of those bridges have beams, and we cannot put beams on top of live traffic. We choose very carefully the time to do that operation during the timeline where most of us are already home, I guess after 8 or 10 o'clock, depending on the time, and then get off the road by 6 o'clock in the morning. So that is kind of the operation we've been going under right now to minimize our impact on the traffic. However, I guess traffic has been impacted, and we've seen some crashes, and we've seen also crashes beforehand as well. Unfortunate crashes do happen on our system, and we've had a crash yesterday in the construction zone for this interchange. Further to the west by Oxford, also we've had a fatality, which I don't know all the details yet on that crash. But we have a crash in our system, and we ask people to be careful, especially when they are going through construction zones where the expectations are hard to expect what's ahead of you. So you have to be alert on what's going on, because we do switch lanes and we do slow down traffic sometimes, and the road is not as smooth as normal roads. It doesn't have the safety features like full depth, full width shoulders in case of an emergency. So if somebody loses a tire or something, they will have to stop in the middle of the road. And we have also some safety measures built into the system. We've added the highway helper program on this interchange. You might have seen their trucks. They travel around the interchange and between Iowa City and Cedar Rabbits, and also help travelers for gas if they run out of gas, or they need a quick change tire, or provide the traffic control behind them to allow towing company to come by. So we have that system trying to also maximize our safety on the system. Safety is our priority number one as a Department of Transportation, and that is the top, I guess, during construction and after construction. So we do all the considerations for that to maintain as safe of operation as possible. We also have a bus going between Iowa City and Cedar Rabbits, trying to mitigate congestion, trying to provide an alternative to the public. As part of this project, this bus system started about 3 years ago, and it goes from downtown Iowa City to downtown Cedar Rapids, stopping by the airport and the University of Iowa and Coralville. And it goes every half hour during the morning rush hour and the evening rush hour, and then during every hour during the day until 8 o'clock, I believe, in the evening. Next. So I mentioned, I guess you can see from this graph here that in 2019, we've had minimum impact, and the green indicate minimum impact. I guess the orange is somewhat, we are impacting traffic somewhat. But then when you get to the red where we are now, basically we have 2 lanes only. We have no shoulders. We have curves during those lanes, which are hard to maneuver sometimes, and we will stay in this kind of condition for 3 years until the year 2023, the end of 23. So we got 2 more full seasons of construction, and you can see we move traffic around. We build the median, and then we will be moving traffic to the median, and then build that side, and then moving traffic back to the new highway, and then move the other side to the median, and then build the other side. So there's lots of stages in this project, and it requires also lots of bridges to be built as part of this project as well. Next. So this is, I guess, some of the highway going on here. We have the completed sections. The construction is in dark black section here, as you can see in the legend. And there will be some closures going on, and I'll cover those closures. I guess we've already done the closure and in the Tiffin ramp. We do closures for long term sometimes, like we did that ramp closure for a while. But this is kind of a general picture of the whole interchange. This is what's going on in 21. Grading wise, you can see it in the light cream color, and then we have the paving in the darker brown color on 380, on I-80. I mentioned earlier that we have 3 stages for every section of the highway. Basically, we move traffic 3 times at least at each location. Next. So the northbound to westbound loop has been closed now for a while, and that loop also, I guess, impacts football traffic. Last football game, and we expect that this coming Saturday. We try to provide an alternative to the football game. We try to ask them to come on Captain Irish Boulevard between Iowa City and Coralville, and not enough of the people took that option. So they end up going on 218 northbound, trying to get to Des Moines. And for that movement, they will have to go all the way north to Forever Green Road, turn around, and come back and go west on that highway. My record, I guess, shows that we've had delays for after game traffic between 20 minutes and half hour on that movement alone on 218. So we did try to give them an alternative, but they didn't listen to our signing and our. They are people of usually are people of habit. They go on their old habits, I guess, and they kept on going to 218 like they used to go, and they delayed themselves by half an hour. We try to provide another alternatives. We will try to emphasize it in the next in the few games also in the future to make sure that they will get used to it and have an alternative for their movements. That way, if they go to I-80 and go westbound east of the interchange, they don't have to go up north and delay themselves. So that's part of the, I guess, communication with the public. However, I guess when we give them the information, nobody comes and complains to us. And that is a good thing for us. We try our best to kind of address the issues ahead of time. We are not successful in reaching the audience all times, but at least we do the efforts and we keep at it. Next. This is the legend for the long-term closures, I guess, again here, and it's similar to what you've seen before, I think. So next, you can see the Island Avenue. I mentioned that was closed this summer for 2 months. We just opened it recently, and we have other closures as well. Next. The loop, I guess, the I-80 westbound to US 218 southbound will be closed coming up here in October, and that will send traffic to basically to Tiffin and come around and come south on 218. Next. So the impact, I guess, on commuters, we did the plan ahead. I did mention to you, we had the express bus going back and forth. We have a ride share program for people to share their rides going back and forth. We asked people to consider telecommuting. Telecommuting became popular after the pandemic, I guess, which is not part of our incentive, but it was a good thing to have. That reduced traffic a little bit last year, and that allowed less congestion on the during construction. And we have also a 511 system where you can go to the website 511, and we include all construction and all restrictions on our highways in the state of Iowa on that website. So that website will give you options to go to different projects around the state, and that is a handy tool to kind of keep you up to date if you are interested of a project close to your travel way or town and what have you. I guess that's a nice system to have, and that's an active system now. Next. These are just some of the numbers. We've had just some of the statistics. We have 45,000 total rides so far. Average daily rides on the bus is 156. I talked to many University of Iowa Hospital and University of Iowa employees who live in Cedar Rapids. They find this bus to be handy, not as much as the other way around, because parking is harder in the downtown Iowa City area, but there's easier parking in Cedar Rapids, easier than Iowa City basically, and the hospital. So they use that the bus system for that purpose. The highest ridership was 333 a day. The lowest was 100. The most utilized stops are Kirkwood Park and Ride, and then the University of Iowa Hospital and Clinic. Over 80% of the riders use the token transit. Next. So we have the specific website for this I-380 project. Also, we have a Facebook for the I-380 projects. We have a phone number if you have questions. And you can sign up for the 511 for real-time alerts if you are interested. Next. I think that's about it for the presentation. We have a few other projects, if you allow me a few more minutes. I-380 between Iowa City and Cedar Rapids, we are looking into 6-laning this section of I-380, and that is in the planning now, and we expect to start on that project 2 to 3 years from now. The section up north seems to be the most critical by Wright Brother Boulevard in Cedar Rapids. The city of Cedar Rapids having a lot of development happening around the airport and the interchange, and they asked us to accelerate that project. Luckily, the Senate has passed the infrastructure bill, and we hope the Congress will approve that bill soon to go to the president's desk for additional funding to the Iowa DOT. We are expecting anywhere between $50 to $150 million a year for the next 4 or so years on that bill, and that will allow us to accelerate some of the projects like I mentioned earlier. Another project is under construction is I-80 to the east. I-80 between Iowa City and the Mississippi River is a priority corridor and will be 6-lane at some point. However, this section east of Iowa City is in the under construction right now by West Branch, and the interchange is the Herbert Hoover Highway interchange right now is under construction to accommodate the new 6 lanes in the near future. Highway 30 between in Tama County and Lynn County also will be 4-laned, and that project was let and awarded. The contract will start this fall in the next month or so, and that will take about 3 years to complete. Highway 30 to the east, I guess by Mount Vernon, is about finished by the bypass around Mount Vernon. However, Highway 30 to the east will be not 4-lane. It will be what we call Super 2. It will accommodate a 3rd lane. It'll be 3-lane intersection where needed for turning traffic, basically. But it will continue to be 2 lanes because the traffic is not high enough to require 4 lanes. So those are some of the big projects in Iowa City, Cedar Rapids area in our district, basically. There is a few more projects in Cedar Rapids. I'll let you maybe ask questions, specific questions about projects you are interested in. I'll try to address those as the questions arise. Thank you for listening.
Great. Thank you, Newman. If anyone has a question, we ask that you raise your hand and we'll call on you. And Newman, I am one of the many thousands of people who every day I drive from Coralville to Cedar Rapids back and forth. So excited to hear that it might be 3 lanes the entire way eventually. So exciting news.
Yes, yep. We are working on that, and that is in the program, in the next 5-year program, and we have the whole section probably will be into 3 stages. The section by the reservoir is different than the other sections because it's surrounded by national park. We cannot acquire right of way, so we are going to widen to the middle in that section. However, to the north and to the south, we haven't decided yet. We are doing the studies to see if widening can be done to the outside and maintaining the median. The median is a nice feature if we can accommodate it, but we can't accommodate it at that section around the reservoir.
Great. Gary, I see you have your hand raised.
Yes, thanks. Thanks for your presentation, Newman. The project I-80, 380 intersection has interrupted the trail along Clear Creek. That is the bike path trail, and I know a lot of us use it. I'm kind of wondering whether or not there's a expected completion to put the trail back together through there.
Well, the trail was not quite finished when we started this project, actually. The city of Coralville had the trail program to get done about 2 or 3 years ago, but it was tough for them to build that trail under the previous bridges on Clear Creek, and they decided, I guess, and we cumulatively decided that we will wait for, our project was also starting at the same time. So we decided to delay the opening of that trail to accommodate the new bridges, and the new bridges, I guess, will have east of Iowa, east of 380 will be raising the profile of the bridges about 6 feet. And that will accommodate the trail pretty nicely under the next to the Clear Creek on 80 and the ramps. And also it will go around the northeast quadrant going to the west under 380 as well. We cannot accommodate, we don't want to put anybody's life on the trail in any kind of danger, because there is lots of activity going on the project. There's lots of complications and accommodations, and we don't want the pedestrians to pay the price as part of that. So we couldn't accommodate traffic. We won't be able to accommodate traffic for 2 more years on this trail. So it will be open by hopefully by the end of 23, about 2 years from now.
Great. Amanda, I see you have your hand raised.
Sure. Thank you so much. This is fascinating. I wondered what you enjoy most about your work on projects like these.
I enjoy interacting with the public like I am doing right now. I mean, that is really my passion, and conveying that information, making it make sense to everybody. Sometimes we get lost in paperwork, and in plans, and lots of engineering decisions have to go through rigorous, I guess, that's part of, I mean, you also want to trust the system to provide the best system for you. But I've worked with the DOT for 32 years, and I worked in multiple facets. I moved around. I'm working now with the management and operation. This is a new area for the Iowa DOT. The Iowa DOT has been expanding the system for the last 100 years since we've been established, basically, or less than that. And now we are switching our emphasis from expanding the system to utilizing the system to its maximum capacity. And with a few bells and whistles and tools and electronics and technology, we are trying to add to the highways by adding cameras and sensors and all kinds of issues to be able to accommodate safe operation of the traffic, and also try to mitigate the incidences. The incidences are part of the big issue in Iowa between, I guess, snow, inclement weather, and incidences and events like football games or big games like that. I mean, those are the major issues in the state of Iowa. We don't have yet major congestion like they do in Chicago and other cities, but we do have operation issues which we are trying to mitigate with the new technology and new approaches. And that's my new role, which was established a year ago in our district. And I'm excited to start this new service to the public by looking for available tools to improve the operation of the highway, because expanding the highway is very expensive. The cost of I-380 expansion is more than $350 million. And sometimes we can accommodate by giving the information to the public, and that's what we are trying to do by changing message signs, where you can see a lot more information now available to you on the internet. You can have application on your phone, and we also have messages on the roadway itself. We try to inform the public as much as we can with what's ahead. That way they are aware, and that's kind of, we are hoping also that will improve the operation. However, I guess people are still busy on their phones, and there's other attractions going on. But then there is also autonomous vehicles is under design, and there's also lots of technology going on, which we are preparing for as well.
Great. Chuck, I see you have a question.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming today and presenting. What interesting. I mean, we're all aware of all the work that goes into this, and my question has to do with the labor. How many people does it take for some of these projects, and are you facing problems trying to find people to do the work? Because really, we appreciate all their hard work. This is not easy at all.
Yeah, this requires skilled workers, and skilled workers are hard to come by these days. Especially in our district here, we are carrying 40% of the statewide. We are only 12 counties in the state out of 99 counties. However, in the last few years and the next few years, we'll be carrying 40% of the DOT workload. You can see a lot of projects going on. I mean, I-380 is one of them. I-74 bridge is hopefully will be finished this November or December of this year. And that's another huge project with a multi-$100 million project. And we have many other projects, not as big as these two, but smaller projects. But then, as I mentioned, that a big chunk of the statewide program is in East Central Iowa, and that is making it harder for the contractor, but they come out from outside as well. Most of the work, all the work is done. We design the work either internally, or we have consultants helping us with the design, but all the work is done by private contractors. So it's all bid concealed bids, and whoever is the low bids with the approved records, they will get the bid, and they are responsible for the delivering the product. We do have incentive. The federal government gave us $50 million incentive on I-380 to accelerate the project. Like, at least it will not be delayed, if you would say. So we are paying incentives for contractors to open their projects in a specific number of days. And earlier, if they do it earlier, we pay them about $10,000 a day sometimes, just to open it to the public. So there is lots of incentives going on in the system, and we are cooperating with the federal government and local agencies to make it as smooth as possible.
Great. Steve, I see you have a question.
Yes, very informative. I appreciate this program. I am particularly interested and appreciate to hear that the Wright Boulevard exchange, which I use on a pretty regular basis, is being raised in its priority. It's already a dangerous situation in many cases, and it's only going to get worse with a number of new opportunities that are happening up there. Do you have a timeline on when, is it too early to know when they will start construction on Wright Boulevard?
We accelerated, we met with the city, the DOT met with the city last month, and we agreed with the city that we want to accelerate that. However, it takes time for us to design those projects. We have to do an environmental study and do impact study, and that takes about 2 years and the design. So it won't happen at least for 2 or 3 years to get started, and then it will take a couple of years to get done. So when we say that we are accelerating, that it's going to take 5 years basically to get done. That is also if the infrastructure bill happened like it did, because the project is not in the 5-year program right now. If it's not in the 5-year program, that means it's going to be programmed 6 or 7 or 8 years from now, and then it will take another 2 years. However, if the bill came through and we got more money to accelerate some of the projects, this project is one of those projects which could be accelerated, but then it will take 2 to 3 years to design. It will take another 2 years to build. Be patient with us. It takes time. We can't turn on a dime.
I understand. Thank you for your presentation.
Yep.
Arlie, I see you have a question.
Yes, please. The city of Coralville has been talking about a diverging diamond for the intersection of Interstate exit 242, which is the one that goes closest to the Iowa River Landing. What is the status of that now?
First Avenue is in the program, and I believe it's in the next 2 years. We are working on the design, and already it was design. We did work on the design about 3-4 years ago, and then we put it on the shelf because there was no funding. But then we were able to add it to the program. Now I don't know the exact year. It's going to be 2 or 3 years from now, but it is in the program to be let in about 1.5 years or so. So it is in the program. And you mentioned diverging diamond. That is a new term maybe for some of us here. And I was going to mention that the Wright Brother Boulevard also is going to be a DDI, divergent diamond interchange. And those divergent diamonds, basically, you cross the traffic from the right-hand side to the left-hand side around the interchange. That way you can have a free left on the freeway, and it just accommodates traffic not nicer. So you'll be driving on the wrong side of the road for a short period above the freeway, and then you get back to the right side just away outside the interchange area. So it'll be a little different, but it's one of the new tools we are utilizing in the state of Iowa, and it has proven its success and its operation efficiency in other states. In addition to that, I guess I will also mention that we are utilizing roundabouts in different areas as well. The Herbert Hoover Highway interchange will have roundabouts at the 2 terminals instead of signals, and because it's diagonal and it's hard to maneuver, and the roundabouts has been very safe for our records here. Usually they reduce the fatalities by 80 or 90% because people have to slow down to go through those roundabouts, and then we won't have the T-bone crashes and the head-on crashes like we do in other intersections. So there will be some fender bender, but even the property damage crashes are reduced by 50 to 70% as well on those roundabouts. So you might see more of them popping around you as well.
Thank you.
Any final questions for Newman? Well, seeing none, Newman, thank you for spending a little bit of time with us today. You had a very timely presentation, and all of us are excited to see the project progress. And Newman, in honor of our speaker each week, we will make a donation to the Rotary Polio Plus Foundation, and that is matched 2 to 1 by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And that'll result in 70 polio vaccinations around the world in your honor. So thank you again for coming in and speaking with us today.
Thank you very much. It touches my heart to have this kind of donation, especially for people in third world countries where I come from, and they suffer a lot. And I do appreciate your efforts in that area.
Great, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. And final reminders, our program next week is Genevieve Trainer. She is the brand new publisher of the Little Village magazine. And she's going to be talking about how Little Village impacts and supports our community. And she'll also talk about how media has been evolving as well. So that should be a good program next Thursday. And I have a conflicting work meeting next Thursday at noon I have to be at. So our Rotary President-elect Ryan Bell is going to be filling in. We're going to give him some early practice. Technically, he doesn't start till July 1 of 2022, but he's going to have some early practice next week. So join us next week, and Ryan will be leading the meeting. And we like to end each meeting with the Rotary four-way test. So Devin, if you could put the four-way test slide up for us, please. And if everyone could please unmute yourselves and join me in the Rotary four-way test of the things we think,
Say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it
Fair to all concerned.
will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Hope everyone has a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.